to have it figured out by now. That's what the world says. But what if I told you the in-between, the part after the choice but before the clarity, it's where most of us live. And more importantly, it's where most of us grow. This is Between the Save Points. No filter, no final form necessary. A show for all of us stuck in the middle. Welcome, my fellow betweeners. I'm your host, Shima. If you're here, you survived the first episode. You hit play again, and that already says something. Or maybe you didn't, and this is your first time here. Curious about what it means to be in progress. You're probably in your own middle chapter, one where things don't fully make sense yet, but something in you knows you're not done. Today, we're talking about what happens between the save points. That gray, long, often frustrating space where growth doesn't feel poetic yet. It just feels confusing. But let me say this now. Confusion doesn't mean failure. Doubt doesn't cancel your progress. And becoming isn't always pretty, but it's still sacred. Even so, the middle can feel like emotional fog. You may have just left something behind, a relationship, a job, an old version of yourself, but the new thing hasn't booted yet. You just feel frozen in place. That space can bring up grief because something's ended. It can stir up doubt because you can't see what's next. Hell, you might even feel like you're doing something wrong because you don't feel clear about where exactly you're going. But listen, being clear isn't a prerequisite for being alive. Here's the truth. Most of life happens right here in the in-between. The beginnings and ends, they're easy to narrate, but it's what we do in the messy middle that defines who we become. And since we're already here, in the messy middle, let me offer you a new way to see it. Think of a video game. You hit a save point. It's a pause, a breather. But the game isn't over. The real journey continues between the save points where you are learning new skills, unlocking new areas, losing battles, and upgrading your armor. Now imagine how crazy it is judging your entire worth based on the pause screen. That frozen moment in time. It doesn't show the bosses you've beaten, the side quests you finished, the missions you barely made it through. It doesn't tell the story unfolding behind the scenes. That's what we do when we try to define ourselves too early. We mistake the pause for the ending. But you understand you're not stalled, you're not broken, you're not even lost. You're loading, and you still have so much more to offer. Let me share a little of my story with you. There was a moment I thought I ruined everything for myself. I dropped out of college and walked away from what I thought was my path. I was grieving, unsure, and at the same time trying to rebuild. For months, I told myself I had failed. But looking back, that in-between season was a personal boot camp. And in another way, a real boot camp. Despite everything through it, I was learning boundaries, gaining clarity, and building self-trust. It didn't look like growth, but it most definitely was. And maybe that's where you are too. In the thick of it, where it doesn't look like much on the outside, but something real is happening underneath. So before we move on, I got something for you. Welcome to your first mini mission. Each episode, I'll offer you a small but meaningful action to take, a checkpoint to help you slow down, notice where you are on the map, and keep moving with intention. Today's mission is a gentle one. Name your in-between. Write it down, record a voice note, Whisper it to yourself in the car or in the shower, whichever works for you. But just literally describe where you are right now. Not where you should be, not where you used to be. Just here, where you are. Ask yourself, what have I let go of? What am I unsure about now? And what is quietly becoming clearer? This is your checkpoint. No edits, no performance, just honesty. Your story is still loading. Let this be your way of pressing save. And while we're here, really here, I want to name a few things out loud that don't get said enough. Things I wish more of us acknowledge. 1, there is no perfect pace for growth. 2, you don't need a 10-step plan to be worthy of becoming. And 3, your middle might take longer than someone else's. And that doesn't make you slow. It makes you thorough. If you feel worn, lost, or tired, you're not behind. You're building stamina. If you feel uncertain, you're not weak. You're being more honest. If you feel hopeful but unsure, welcome. You're growing. So, let's get into your first save point. At the end of every episode, we'll stop to take a moment of reflection. Think of it as a journal prompt, a moment to pause, think, and take inventory of where you are on the journey. This isn't about tying things up with a bow. It's about checking in with yourself, honestly, gently, fully. As you pause here, consider this. Where in your life are you quietly still showing up, even when it's hard to see progress? How can you honor the middle instead of trying to escape it? Give yourself time to think about it, reflect on it, journal it, own it. Consider this your personal checkpoint, not a cutscene, not a milestone, just a pause to see what you've picked up along the way. You are still in the game, and that matters. We're at the end of the episode. So, thanks for being here. For real, I mean that. If this episode hit home, I'd love for you to share it with someone who's stuck in the fog too. You don't need to rush through the middle. You just need to keep showing up. Tag me at Between the Save Points and use the hashtag #InTheInBetween. Leave a review or a voice note. Tell me what part of your story is still loading and what you're choosing to show up for anyway. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, because next we're diving a little deeper into the mini missions and what to do with what you hear here. No guidebook needed, just curiosity, courage, and a willingness to press start again and again. Until then, be real, stay growing, keep becoming. No filter, no final form necessary. I'll see you at the next checkpoint.